What's going on YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our ACC football channel. We have our power rankings as we head into week 3 of the season, and it's, of course, Clemson at the top. The question is, who can challenge Clemson? Which teams can maybe give them a run for their money? I don't know if anyone can at this point. The ACC top to bottom might be a little bit more competitive than it was last year, might be a little bit better, but they are still in search of some teams that can be considered serious contenders, teams that have a chance to get into the top 15, top 10 in the country. Right now, they're searching for that. We'll start with number 14. That is Georgia Tech. They got a win this past weekend over South Florida. Very nice win for Jeff Collins, his first win at Georgia Tech. The defense for this team has played pretty well the first couple of games of the season. I know they gave up a lot against Clemson, but that was Clemson. And we saw them make some plays on defense. Offensively, they are challenged right now, and that's what some of us expected because they are moving away from the triple option and everything. But I still thought, they would be okay. The problem is they just don't have much of a passing game right now, and they've got to improve that if they're going to take that next step. But right now, they're going to stay at the bottom of our power rankings, but not a bad team at all. Number 13 is Pitt. They get a win over Ohio, 20-10. Not a really overly impressive win. Ohio's not a bad team at all. So I think you might see that score and think, wow, what's wrong with Pitt? They only beat Ohio by 10, but Ohio's a pretty good team. They got the win. That was the main thing. They stay towards the bottom here. But I tell you what, you look at teams like Pitt and Georgia Tech that are at the bottom of our power rankings, 13 and 14. If you look at the teams that were at the bottom of the ACC last year, I think there is some improvement there. And that's why I say top to bottom, the ACC actually is better this year. They just maybe don't have enough teams at the top. Louisville is at number 12. Impressive win over Eastern Kentucky. I know it was an FCS opponent, but still, they blow them out 42-0. That's something else. The defense for Louisville has looked pretty good so far. They played Notre Dame, especially in that first half, really tough. I understand the game kind of got away from them later on, but I think that's just an issue of depth. Louisville, I think, is going to challenge some teams in the ACC. They're not going to get blown out by everyone, and I've really been impressed with what I've seen so far. As you see them at number 12, that is actually an improvement, really, from where they were last year. Number 11 is Florida State, a team that just cannot get it together right now. They squeak by Louisiana Monroe in overtime. It was actually a missed extra point. That's what won them this game. This team, again, is struggling. Defensively, they're not getting it done. Offensively, they're inconsistent. And you have to wonder what is going on at Florida State. Why can they not play better? They have some talented players. And it just, for whatever reason, it's just not coming together. Is Willie Taggart the right man for this job? I don't know. I think you have to start to question that. We'll see if they can maybe get things going. But at least they got a win. And that's the main thing. At least get that win over ULM. Duke is at number 10. They get a win over North Carolina A&T, 45-13, so an easy win for them against an FCS opponent. Really didn't learn much in this game. Again, they played Alabama tough for a little while in the opener. Still really don't know how good this Duke team is. Are they a pretty good team like we've seen the last couple of years, or are they really back to what they were several years ago where they're pretty much always at the bottom of the ACC. It's tough to say right now. I really don't know where this Duke team is. Need to see a little bit more out of them, but they come in at number 10 in our power rankings. Number 9 is Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech gets a win, gets some revenge over Old Dominion. Remember, they lost to them or upset last year, but they got the win. They won easily, won by 14. They bounced back after that loss to Boston College. You have to wonder, though, is Boston College going to be really good this year, and maybe Virginia Tech is not as bad as we thought after what we saw in that opener, or is Virginia Tech going to be bad? Boston College is really not that good. It's so early. That's why it's so tough to rank these teams, because we don't know all these answers. There are teams we know about, but there are a lot of teams that we just don't know about, and Virginia Tech is a perfect example of that. Miami is at number 8. A team that has been competitive in their first 2 games, but they haven't got a win. They're 0-2, 0-1 in the conference. Look like they might beat North Carolina. They come from behind, get the lead, then North Carolina gets it back late. Just a tough loss there for Miami. They had their chances against Florida as well. This team could be 2-0. They're not as bad as the record would make it seem. They've just played 2 quality opponents and lost close games. They've got to learn to finish these games and win in the fourth quarter. And if they can do that, they can still turn this thing around and have a pretty good season. I haven't given up on Miami. I still think they're going to be competitive the rest of the way, but they do come in at number 8. Number 7 is a team that was blown out this past week to Maryland, 63-20, the final score in this game. It was a surprise. I picked Maryland to win the game. I thought that they would win. I haven't been that high on Syracuse. I never had them in my top 25 poll, but to go out and get blown out like that, yeah, that surprised me. This Maryland team looks really good right now. Or is it that Syracuse is not good at all? It's, again, tough to say this early in the season. I always say after week 4, then we can properly evaluate these teams, and I think it's much more clear where these teams should be ranked. But we're just doing the best we can right now with the games that we have seen. At number 6, it's Wake Forest. Struggled a little bit early on against Rice, but they do get the win. They will move to 2-0. Haven't really been challenged yet. You know, Utah State's a very good Group of 5 team, and they took them down to the fourth quarter. They got that win. We'll see what happens with Wake Forest now that they get into conference play. Have some tougher opponents. I believe they're going to play North Carolina either this Thursday or next Thursday, so that'll be an interesting game, or maybe it's a Friday game. I can't remember. Anyways, Wake Forest, number 6, explosive on offense. Maybe needs to improve the defense a little bit, but yeah, at least they got that offense going for them. NC State is at number 5. Another team that really just has not been tested at this point. We need to see what they can do against a quality opponent, and then we will know if NC State is the real deal. But they've looked pretty good so far. Put up 41 points against Western Carolina. Matt McKay's looked pretty solid at quarterback. Again, impossible to say right now. NC State might be one of the worst 4 teams in this conference, and we wouldn't know it because we just haven't seen them play anybody. And after this coming weekend, I think we will learn a lot more about NC State, and we'll find out if this team is actually going to be a contender in the ACC. Number 4 is Boston College. They got an easy win this past weekend, 45-13, as they roll over Richmond. But again, it's an FCS team. You can't really take much away from that. I'm still going back to the win over Virginia Tech. That was an impressive win. We'll see if they can continue to play like that once they get back into conference play. Anthony Brown was impressive at quarterback for them. We know they've got A.J. Dillon. Defense has played pretty solid. Not great, maybe not as good as some of the Boston College defenses from the past, but they've been good enough because of the improvements on offense, and that's why they're at number 4. Number 3 is North Carolina. Didn't think I would see them anywhere near this spot after the season they had last year, but it just shows you how great of a coach Mack Brown is. He is getting it done for the Tar Heels as they come in at number 3, 2-0 overall. Yeah, they're undefeated. And they've got wins over quality programs, a win over South Carolina and a win over Miami. And just like Miami could easily be 2-0, North Carolina could easily be 0-2. And that's how it was last year. They lost some close games. But this year they are finishing those games. They're getting the wins. And right now they look like they might be one of the top contenders in the Coastal Division. But I still think the top contender in the Coastal Division is Virginia. They're 2-0. They have that conference win over Pitt. They beat William & Mary 52-17. No surprise there. Really didn't, again, learn much about this team from that game. And so many FCS games here in the first few weeks. I wish they would do away with it, but it is what it is. And especially if you're going to have 4 non-conference games, at least don't play more than one FCS team. And most teams don't do that, but there are a few that actually play 2 FCS teams. Anyways, Virginia looking good early. I still think they're going to win the Coastal Division, but I'd like to see them play another quality opponent. And then we've got Clemson at number 1. Is there really any doubt about it? I mean, it's a pretty obvious pick. There's no one even close to Clemson. Nobody is even in the ballpark with this team in this conference, in my opinion. They have looked dominant. They look really good against Texas A&M. They completely destroyed Georgia Tech in the opener, and they really haven't played great. They really haven't played great football so far, and it just shows you the potential of this team. But Clemson is the team everyone's chasing in the ACC, not only in the ACC, but in the country. as they are clearly number one in our ACC Power Rankings. What do you guys think about our rankings? You can let me know down in the comments below, or give me your rankings. How would you rank these teams? Feel free to do that as well. Thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for more here on the SG1 Sports ACC Football Channel.